how did we move forward? We trauma bonded. That's what we did.
Trauma bond is crazy. Hey, I'm your host Alexis.
And I'm your co-host, Drew.
Sit back and relax because you're
in good company.
Hey guys, it's officially April.
Welcome to April.
Which is super exciting because it's almost a year until we started posting on YouTube.
Yeah, no, we're hitting our 1 year anniversary in May.
Yeah, we are.
Guys,
that's really
we're at
exciting.
11 months right now.
I know, that's wild. But in this week's episode, we're going to be talking about friendships within the context of situations, and also we're going to be touching on how the different people in your life can influence you in different ways. And even after they're no longer a part of your life, you kind of pick up little habits or maybe even certain characteristics that stay with you. And I think there's a beauty in that. So what made me think about this context in the first place was I'm on TikTok and I see an audio from Jeanette McCurdy's book, and someone made this really cute edit, but basically she was talking about how in the context of iCarly, her and Miranda Cosgrove were really good friends, and she was really afraid that without the context with the show ending, the friendship would also end, or they would kind of fizzle out, and then before you knew it, they were just co-stars, right? And it got me thinking about the different relationships I had in high school, even before high school, or even more recently with people that we kind of fizzled out because the context of whatever we had in common was gone, or even in high school, more friendships I was starting to make, and then COVID hit, and then our context was gone, so we were acquaintances, maybe becoming friends, but then that was we're not really anything anymore because we don't see each other, we don't talk, we don't have that basic, we have class together or something, and I really miss my acquaintance or context friendships, but if you don't really establish friendship outside of whatever you guys have together or you do together, when the time comes, maybe that friendship won't be there anymore. And how kind of bittersweet that is.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I was even thinking about now some people I currently know. I'm I need to make sure we know each other outside of the context of what we're doing. But what about you, True? Do you have friends like that, or have you had friends like that?
Of course. There's always this whole thing that you described essentially is just school friends, you know? And you have these amazing friendships and all these fun times in class. And the moment school ends, for example, high school, middle school, elementary even, those friendships kind of fizzle out. And I think one of the most important aspects for going over the barrier of school friends is definitely giving your friendship new context, like you said.
Yeah, I think that's key. Because I know I'm thinking of the friendships that lasted outside of however we knew each other. When we started hanging out outside of school, more likely than not, those were the friendships that made it. But I do have a few friends that we would occasionally hang out outside of school. But I think because our time was cut short, our friendship didn't necessarily last. I think distance also plays a part because we, separate colleges in different states. And then when they would come back in town, they had their friends they were really close with outside of high school already.
Right, their main core friends.
If they don't have that much time, they're probably going to see them outside of me. And then it was just before you know it, it's been 2 years and you haven't spoken or talked to this person. And you're dang, what the heck? How has it been that long since you were a constant in my life?
Right. I mean, I also think it's really interesting to see people grow from a distance and kind of knowing that you used to know them in a certain time period.
It's actually kind of bizarre when you keep people on social media, specifically
Instagram.
Heavy
on that.
Oh my goodness, I have this one friend and we were really close in high school. And then we kind of just fizzled out, and I just felt the friendship wasn't necessarily there. And mind you, we were friends outside of context. But I think the sad thing is now I see her post, and I'm wow, I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't know who's in your life. So we used to know so much about each other. I used to go to your house. We had sleepovers. I'm what happened? Aww. So I think it can happen to anybody. But you're more susceptible to it when the context is a club, or it's freaking Girl Scouts.
Girl Scouts, work even. If you work
truly work friends.
I
was gonna say some people don't necessarily want to make that. They don't want you to spill into their personal life.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're whoa, I wonder if we met each other in a different setting, what this would be like.
Yeah.
I think about that. But are there any friends that this has happened to that you managed to stay in contact contact with? Like, you met them in a certain context and you guys are still friends?
Yes.
And then how'd you do it? Like, how did you manage that?
So the way I managed those kinds of friendships, I guess. So I'm going to be referencing a lot of friends that I had back in high school, because I guess that's like a most recent example that I can think of. Me and my friend Rianne, shout out to her. Love you, girl. We went to high school together, and we became closer in the context of a club. We both managed this Asian Student Association together back in high school, and the majority of our hangouts were planning those meetings and then, you know, kind of discussing our plans regarding that club and like taking that place forward. Girl, how did we move forward? We trauma bonded. That's what we did.
Trauma bond is crazy.
No, but let me
sometimes no, I get it. You end up realizing, oh wow, there's a whole side of you I didn't know. I actually relate to a lot. Like, I really, really like you now.
Yeah, there's like we, I guess, vulnerably got to know each other in a way, I guess.
Yeah, no, I get that. You guys were vulnerable around each other, and you realized.
That is an emotional shift that took us outside of we're just school friends.
What was the shift necessarily, though? You were just having a conversation and it came up one day?
Yeah, it just came up. We became comfortable because we hung out so much due to the context that we were in. And obviously, you can't talk about the same topic the entire time that you're together. And we kind of just navigate from there. And how I maintain my friendship with her now is we see each other every couple of months, maybe.
I mean, yeah, I feel like that's what it's like when you guys are in different states, or you're in school even. It's difficult.
Yeah, so that's just how it is. And then with my other friends who I still keep in contact with, I'm on their close friends, and they kind of do something where they update us on their close friends here and there. And it feels like a FaceTime call, even though it's not. And once again, I meet up with them every couple of months. It's just the intention, saying, hey, I want to see you when you're here.
I agree. I think it's so funny. I'm thinking about even our friendship, because when I think about the fact that, guys, we've never had classes together.
Never.
We were in a club together.
Yeah.
And then we ended up starting the podcast, and the podcast makes us see each other every week.
Yes,
if we didn't have the context of this podcast, I think we would let life get away from us.
I also think the addition of us doing our play last semester added another layer.
Wait, guys, can I say something? So I'm a theater kid through and through, and one thing, a lot of my close friends, we did theater together, like, because you have crazy long rehearsals. You have sometimes you have a traumatizing director, sometimes you have a great director, but you bond.
Bonding.
You truly bond. And last semester, Truk did a performance, Mattia was in a performance, Denai, she was in a performance, and it was so much fun because that was the first time Mattia had acted in years. It's the first time Truk was in a performance, period. Yeah. We literally were auditioning. We're like, girl, just audition for the vibes.
Yes.
And we all ended up being in the show. And I think that, like, we got to see each other all the time last semester because, we have rehearsal. We have this. And I really love that. I'm going to hold on to that experience for a long time because I don't think it's ever going to happen again.
Yeah.
I think that was it. I think it was a one and done. Definitely, at least while we both attend the same school. So I think context matters. I think sometimes I want to get to know somebody, but it feels weird to just approach them. So I know we have something in common. It's like, okay, we have a baseline, and now I can approach you and maybe potentially become friends, and let's see if this can go beyond what we're doing together, which I think is the best. I love when that happens. But no, I was thinking about myself. There are some people, like, currently in my life who I'm like, I need to make this shift now, because if I don't, I'm afraid that we won't be friends after, this, whatever we're doing together is over. Have you ever had that where you wanted to become closer to somebody and it just didn't work out?
Not particularly. I don't really desperately hold on to friendships. I feel like something about me is like, I trust that I will reach out when the time comes. For me personally, I'm not like a daily texter, right? I only text people when I have like a topic that reminded me of them. Like, oh, hey, like I'm going grocery shopping right now and I saw this snack that you like. Do you want some? And then that's my excuse to like, I guess, see them again.
I get that.
But I don't know. I've never felt this desperation to maintain a friendship.
I don't feel like it's ever a desperation, but it's an acknowledgement that I feel like there's more potential between us, and we get along really great, and this is like whatever we're currently doing, and I think I'm doing myself a disservice if I'm not at least attempting to create stronger bonds with them, because you don't always come across people that you really mesh with or vibe with who also have nothing but good intentions for you. So I think taking that for granted is something I don't want to do anymore. I want to be more, I guess, I'm trying to think of the best word, but I want to put more intention into who I bring into my life. So I'm like, I think we would be good friends. Outside of this, I'd like to pursue that, because I think at times I kind of just let situations go by, and I'm thinking, wow, that person was actually a really incredible person in my life. What if I tried harder to keep them in it? So I think of it more like that. I don't want to like have regrets when it comes to friendships or different people.
That is so sweet.
No, I definitely think also just when you look at the people in your life, you're like, wow, if I hadn't maybe done this, we wouldn't be where we are now. Because I'm thinking, if I hadn't joined that club and I wasn't like, we weren't as open to each other as we had been, we may not have been as close. And I think of missed opportunities like that, and I'm like, that's such a waste.
Yeah. I also think when you do go out of your way to like see these people, it's putting the intention of like, I want to see so and so today, and I will like put away all of my other distractions and kind of be present with the person. And I think that really helps keep the friendship going, because the person recognizes like, hey, like you are literally here with me right now, and we're focusing on what we're doing together.
I mean, I feel like my biggest thing is, if I feel like the energy's not there, I'm never gonna force anything. Like that is not my intention. But if I feel like there's potential, then I want to you know,
That's
maybe
really
feed off of
sweet.
that potential. But you know, sometimes you can just tell we only work within this context,
Within
and
the context.
that's as far as it goes, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you can see, you know, I'm getting a little vibe, you might as well go for it. But okay, True. Now I have a question for you. So, okay, kind of moving on from the context of things, I was also thinking about how little habits that maybe your friends have, or even like different artists they listen to, or things like that, and you could be currently friends with them, or maybe that friendship has passed. Do you have any like that you've picked up from previous people you were around, and you're like, when you do that, it kind of reminds you of them, and it's like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. I do not have any on the top of my head right now.
Okay.
But I would like you to go first, because I know you have definitely examples.
I do. I was actually talking with this with my mom yesterday, because I was thinking about a friend I was thinking about a girl I was friends with in high school, and she was so sweet. And I remember we were on FaceTime once, and she said something to me, and I've never forgotten it. So it's been a few years, and I was talking about, I felt like senior year that I finally learned how to do my makeup, and I was figuring out my style, and I was like, man, like I look so much better than I did like a few years ago, like when I was 14, 15. And she was like, Alexis, I don't feel like you should say that, because when you say those things about your previous self, it's like you're not acknowledging that because of who you once were, it's who you are now. She's like, I loved you back then, and I think you're amazing now, and I just want you to be kinder to yourself, because 14-year-old you was trying her best for you to be like, I'm so much better now, you're disrespecting her. And like, why do that? And I never forgot that. Like that to this day.
That was beautiful.
No, it truly was. She just said it like on a FaceTime once, and I never forgot that. So shout out to you, girl. We don't even talk like that anymore, but that always stuck with me. I think to my previous self, I'm like, why? I was trying my absolute best at that point in my life. So there's no need for me to feel like, oh, I'm doing so much better now, and do a disservice by not acknowledging what I was going through then. So I never forgot that. I still think about that. That was like 3 years ago now.
Wow.
And I really love that. And I thought that's the one thing that I think about, like a piece of advice, because it doesn't necessarily have to be like a habit per se, but you know, of course, there are different artists friends have introduced me to. And then when I think about it, I'm like, this is so nice. Like, I'm so happy that I took like little bits of you, and I now carry that with me.
Oh my goodness, that was an amazing answer.
Yes,
I don't even know, because mine is gonna be like a silly hee.
No, it's so okay. I feel like there are different levels. There's some things that are really silly, like maybe certain jokes that are like, I just think are funny now because they remind me of a certain person.
Yeah.
But that was something like more sentimental that I held on to, because no one had really said that to me before, and I was like, wow, that's something to think about.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was beautiful.
That was.
I'm sorry.
She was literally
I'm fully into this right now.
No, I love her so much. I texted her the other day. I said, girl, I was thinking about you. I don't know if she's gonna respond. One thing, she was a notoriously bad texter. So I feel like when you have friends who you know in school and they're really bad at texting, you're like, I don't know where this is gonna go. But I hope if she ever sees this, she knows.
Yeah.
I really did appreciate that.
So, okay. I guess on a more sentimental value, well, I don't know. I don't have anything sentimental in my brain right now. There used to be a friend in high school, and she would always be working on the next goal, right? And she's always like, I want to. So she is an athletic girly. She works out and everything. And she's like, oh, I want to bench this much by this time period. And she sets up a whole plan here and there. And I've always admired how much she's able to kind of like set herself up for success. And kind of have such a clear vision of what she wants for herself. And every couple of months when I check in on her, when she posts like little progress updates on her stories, I'm like, wow, you are amazing for like sticking to your goals and sticking to your vision. And that has always inspired me to kind of come up with my own goals. I don't think I've done a good job at sticking to them, but it's just like something that I've always admired about her. And I think about sometimes when I start planning just small things here and there for myself, I'm just like, oh yeah.
I like that you mentioned that, because you can also just draw like inspiration from your friends or like from those around you, and just be like, wow, like that's amazing. Like I want to put more effort into developing myself, because like I'm looking at you and I'm really proud of how far you've come. And I think that's totally another thing. I was just thinking, shout out to Mattia. Mattia gives me song recs all the time that I add to my playlist and I think about when I'm listening, or just different things like that. But I do like the inspiration aspect a lot, because I definitely have friends who like do nothing but work. I have this one friend, she's taken like 12 classes a semester. That would never be me. But she'd be doing her thing, she'd be auditioning for different stuff, and I'm like, wow, like this just proves to me like if you really want something, you can go for it. Like you can do it, you're totally capable of it. And I think there's something about seeing someone accomplish their goals who you really want the best for them, that makes it even more like heartwarming. You're like, wow, like we could really do that. Which I love that. I love that so much.
Like I truly love like watching all of my friends. Like I know I'm not a part of their everyday life anymore, but I truly do enjoy just seeing them succeed in their own right. And all of that. It's very heartwarming. And I'm like, I am excited to see what amazing dreams you have when we meet up again.
And I think I will say this much. I am a believer that time can pass, but you can still reconnect. Because I have some friends. I have one friend, and we have been friends since I was 8, since I like moved to this state. And we don't see each other all the time, but we make time to see each other when we can. And it really feels like no time has really passed. We catch each other up. We let each other know how we've been doing or what's been going on. And you know, as I said, I don't see her all the time, but we still are friends. I think there's some people in your life who you already know. The friendship is so established that you don't feel like you need to speak to them all the time to know that you guys are still friends. And I think sometimes it's a little more blurry. Like you can't tell, like, are we still friends? Like we haven't spoken to each other. But I love friends like that as well. Like I love the friends that I can see more often, but people can reconnect. I really do believe people can reconnect, and life can get away from you, but that doesn't mean don't reach out. Like if you really have been thinking about somebody and you guys had like a connection, I think just reach out, because why not? Like the worst thing that can happen is they don't respond, but now you know. Like there's not like a what if, like did I, give up on this friendship too easily, or did I just let you walk away because, time got in the way? I don't care. I almost hit somebody up after like years. Like if I really felt like there was potential. If I didn't, I'd be like, nah, we're good.
I literally remember seeing this like TikTok or reel where they were talking about this pause friendship. They spoke about it in a very artistic way. It was like a short film almost.
I think I heard about this
concept. And it's like a pause start friendship where you can start at any time, and once you unpause, the energy and all of the things that you just mentioned are still the same. You guys still have that same like childlike fun with each other. You guys still have those same jokes that you haven't revisited in years. But once you get back and you see them in person, you're like, oh yeah, A, B, and C. And it's just like an amazing feeling to be able to leave for so long and come back to a very like stable
because
like peak in the past.
I think the love doesn't go anywhere. So that's why it works. You still have so much like affection for them, and you want to see them do well. And it's just like, I don't know, like I feel like there's some friends that I could still come back to, and I could look back at this video and be like, dang, I'm so happy we talk now. No, but Truk, I know you also were thinking of some like talking points for this episode. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you want to like get in on?
I mean, just a little bit. Like it's not too deep, but like for friendships that you still kind of speak on in a more regular interval. Like, you know how I spoke about how I see such and such on every specific month? How do you maintain like long distance friendships?
Ooh, okay, so that's a bit of a tough one. I think it kind of depends on the person, but you have a general baseline for how it works. So when I like moved out here, I didn't have a lot of friendships to maintain, but I did have a cousin who I was really, really close with. Like, we consider each other best friends. And I remember, even at the ripe old age of 8, she was writing me letters. She was writing me cards, and she would send them periodically. We would write emails, like, we couldn't FaceTime or anything. So she was writing emails back and forth to each other.
Oh, this is so sweet.
Oh my goodness, she is the sweetest. And I know we would text whenever we could. For a minute there, we did like stop talking, and I was so sad. I was like, wow, like, is this friendship over? Is this it? And then I came to town, and we ended up going out to, like, went out to eat, and like we clicked like that, and it was back, and I was literally, so I said, this healed my inner child. So that's why I'm of the belief that if the effort's still there, it's still possible. And I think it's so wild because she actually started her own YouTube channel. We were talking, and she was like, you have like all these different things that you do, and I wanted to really like just put myself out there and do something. And she was like, you inspired me. And then when I saw she started her YouTube channel, I was like, shoot, I got to get on this podcast. So then I inspired her. And it was a back and forth. And I think that is like amazing beautiful. When you can reconnect and you still have such a impact on each other's lives. So for friendships like that, I think just checking in on one another is key. I know some people are notoriously bad like texters or anything like that, so be old fashioned, send a letter. Like, I sent a letter to one of my friends in college, and she thought it was the sweetest thing ever. So I think it's always possible, but it definitely needs to be on both ends, that the effort's there, because if the person is putting in minimal effort, then I think don't waste your energy on somebody who is not respecting it. So that's my thing. I think, when they're in town, try and hang out, some form of communication in between it, and let them know about maybe the big moments in your life, stuff you're excited about. Just know, like, you're still in the loop. Like, I still want to tell you things. But what about you, True? Because I know I feel like you've done a good job. You have friends who have gone to different colleges.
Thank you. So I have a group of friends who we meet up every like winter break, essentially. Every Christmas, one of my friends throw a little like sleepover get together.
That's so cute.
Obviously, I'm not there for the sleepover, but I am there for when we're all meeting up. But it's like there's this set period where we all know that we can always see each other again. Right. And it's like this expected, this date is coming up, we're gonna meet up again. And it's kind of that expected thing. I have another group where we meet up every spring, and I just met up with them for some lunchies. Nice. And it's kind of just having that set time period made for them that we can expect every year.
I agree. I think when it becomes like a habit, then it's not even like a question of, oh dang, when should we hang out? Like, this is the day we hang out.
It's just a little anniversary.
I mean, they do that in like movies and books. They have that cute little one day a year type of beat.
Yeah.
So I think that's effective, but also the effort has to be there on both sides, because if the effort's not there, then it's like I feel like I'm just throwing my energy into space and I'm just bouncing back on me, and like that is no fun. And so as we wrap up, because I think we've touched on all our points, I am going to do a little song rec of the day, guys. And I'm also going to do a recommendation. So I finally caught up on Invincible. If you guys don't know this show, it's this really cool superhero cartoon, but it's like low-key. I don't know, it's high-key very gory, so if like blood freaks you out, don't watch it. But it's a good time. I recommend this song from Invincible. It's called Philip, and it's by the artist D4VD. I don't know how to pronounce that, but you get the vibe. And it's so catchy, and the show actually, it's a lot of trauma, but it's fun. Like, you're gonna be intrigued. So show rec and song rec, and I hope you follow at least one of them. What about you, Drew?
Okay, first. All right, so what did I see on TikTok this week? So there's this like psychological thing called misnaming, where you would call one of your friends a different friend's name, right? So instead of calling you Alexis, I would be like, oh hey, I'm with Mattia today, but no, you're Alexis. And
I've done that.
I've done that too, and I feel really bad about it. But I saw this thing on TikTok where, let's see, Samantha Deffler is a cognitive scientist who surveyed a bunch of men and women about like when they mix up naming the people in
Right.
their lives. And they've noticed that it's actually like a brain function because our brain kind of separates people into different folders and kind of like grouping up people in certain contexts. Like, you
Right.
know how we were talking about context earlier today about like school friends, Girl Scout friends, all of those different
Right,
groups
like,
in your lives.
Mhm.
If you notice who the person that you misnamed the person with, you kind of see in your brain what folder you put them in.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny. I just did that, but I was telling a story. No, I actually did it with Mattia and Denaya. I was telling a story about
the context
Denaya.
of PG.
I was telling the story about Denaya, and then I called Mattia Denaya. If you guys, you guys are only gonna know these people if you watched our
Other
previous videos.
podcasts.
Mattia, you will know soon. We keep we're waiting for that video to drop. But the point is, I think that's a fun little concept. It's interesting.
Right, because you get to see like what kind of pools people are like categorized in your brain. But yeah, that's literally what it is. Your brain is just glitching and you're not
She's just
purposely
bugging a little bit.
You're just lagging a little bit,
Oh
but
my
you're not
goodness.
actually like
But how fun.
forgetting people. But yeah.
Well, thank you, Truk. But as we wrap up, I want to say a thank you to the Humanities Department and shout out to Bobby. Also want to say, guys, thank you so much for our other video getting like, we went past 200 views, which is very exciting.
Yes, thank you.
So, I mean, subscribe, like this video if you like it. Check out some of our other videos
Leave
because
some
you
comments
probably
below.
Yes, I want to see comments. I want to see what y'all think. And if you like this video, I am like 99% sure you'll like one of our other videos. So tune in.
Bye
guys.
See you next Thursday.